All right, everybody. So President Trump is going to need a lot of help with peace in Iran. So it's the easy part is done. Okay. He got rid of the regime, and now is the hard work. The hard work of laying a foundation of peace, of lasting peace for the people of Iran and for the world and for that region. And he's going to need help, a lot of help. I said earlier that our members of Congress need to step up to the plate. They have the ability through the speech or debate clause to come to the table here and meet directly with our partners in Europe and in Asia to start helping with this transition for Iran. So I just wanted to play this with John Bolton. He was on CNN, and John Bolton is pointing this out that this is going to be very difficult. So let's just take a look.
Here with me now, John Bolton, who served as National Security Advisor in the first Trump administration and the UN Ambassador under President George W. Bush. It's interesting because Senator Lindsey Graham said that after speaking with President Trump, he's, quote, confident we're not going to extend this ceasefire. Do you buy that?
Well, I think confident because they think they're going to make a deal, which I think they could do because Trump wants a deal to get out of this more than anything else.
You feel he definitely wants something. He wants to get out.
Yeah, I think he recognizes he doesn't really know where he's going with this, that somehow it got out of his control. And he fears the economic consequences, gas at the pump being what it is, and fears the political consequences. There's no national strategic analysis here. It's Trump's political well-being that's at stake.
I want to play something he said about the actual nuclear material, nuclear weapons that Iran may have.
Very important is that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that. Iran's agreed to that, and they've agreed to it very powerfully. They've agreed to give us back the nuclear dust that's way underground because of the attack we made with the B-2 bombers.
Is that possible that Iran has already agreed to give up their enriched uranium?
I find that very hard to believe because that is something that would require a major U.S. presence on the ground just to dig it out and take it away. But the president's absolutely wrong in saying that when Iran claims that they're acknowledges they will give up the pursuit of nuclear weapons, that's a big deal. This has been going on for a long, long time. Iran's a signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, by which they committed 40 years ago never to build nuclear weapons. In 2004, they agreed with the Europeans not to seek nuclear weapons. In 2015, and the Obama
deal,
nuclear deal,
they agreed to that.
They do it all the time. They just disregard what they pledge.
So Bolton's right. Okay, so Trump doesn't really know where this is going. He can't know. He doesn't know. And the Iranians they're tricky, man. It's going to be really hard to get this thing done. Really, really hard. So I'm telling you, it's going to take like every man up. It's like everybody, all hands on deck. We need our members of Congress to step up to the plate. Yes, they have midterm elections right now. They need to step up to the plate, and not in a political way. They have to get involved with China. They have to get involved with our partners in Pakistan. They have to get involved with our partners in Europe. And they have to start working this thing face to face to get this wrapped up and get it going in the right direction. Trump alone isn't going to be able to pull it off. He's done as much as he could do. He's going to be there, I guess, leading this and guiding it. But our Congress has to come in now, and not with politics. They've got to step up to the plate. They've got to reach out to their partners. Our members of Congress are always overseas. They're always traveling. I go through so many travel documents for these members of Congress. They're always all over the place. And half of the time, they're not really doing anything important. This is the time. These guys should be flying all over the planet right now, meeting with anyone they can meet with to help get in place everything that's needed to make this thing happen in Iran. So let's finish hearing what these guys have to say.
If Trump is looking at that as a justification to declare victory, he's just flat wrong.
It's interesting, though, because so many of his criticisms of that nuclear deal in 2015, I mean, it seems like whatever, we have no idea what this deal may be, but it seems like it may be not all that different then. I mean, money will be given to, Iran will get money, whether or not they control the Strait of Hormuz, and they'll have some sort of nuclear program.
Look, for 30 years plus, it's been clear Iran has made a strategic decision that it wants nuclear weapons. Through all the ups and downs of diplomacy, there has never been any hard evidence that the Iranians have given up that pursuit. And they haven't given it up now. They'll sign almost anything now to get those U.S. forces out of the region. And once they're gone, they'll start building back. They started building back after the 12-day war last summer, which is evidence of just how long their commitments last.
Do you worry that the focus for this administration really is just get a deal that keeps the Strait open and not worry or push the nuclear stuff down the road?
I think it's a combination, but honestly, at the Pentagon, they have a phrase called restoring deterrence, which is after it fails, how do you make it clear to the adversary not to do it again? I think deterrence has failed here in the Strait of Hormuz, and the only way to restore it is to take it back by military force, to have a blockade that stops Iranian oil from coming out, but the capacity to have Arab oil get out so that we get oil back on global markets, the price comes down, and Iran gets
You're talking
nothing.
about not just a blockade of Iranian ports, you're talking about a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz.
I'm talking about freeing the strait from the constraint or the threat of attacks on tankers coming in and out.
But don't
So you see from John Bolton, and this is where I break from Mr. Bolton, because he's really focused on kinetic kick somebody's ass, and I don't think that's the right time for that. I think we're in a place now where the Iranians are so depleted, and they're so hampered with their revenue right now because of oil. This is a time for diplomacy, flat out. It's a time for diplomacy. I know that Marco Rubio is a pretty good Secretary of State. It doesn't seem like Trump has unleashed him and his staff on this situation. I think it's time for that to happen. I think President Trump needs to tap on Marco Rubio's shoulder. And this is the true test for Mr. Rubio, right? This will be a true test. If Trump brings Marco Rubio into this, now we will see if Marco Rubio is presidential material. See, the beauty of America is, yeah, we have a president, but the truth of the matter is the president of the United States is not as a powerful a position as most people realize. It's actually a weak position compared to other presidencies around the world and other governments. And so we do have power players here like Marco Rubio. We have power players in Congress, in the United States Senate, and in the House of Representatives. These are very powerful individuals with very powerful networks, and what they say matters. And so that's what we need here. We don't need to be worried about more bombs and more ships and more missiles. We need to be talking about diplomacy right now. Diplomacy. And that starts with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. He is a candidate for president in 2028. It's time we find out. Is he up to snuff? We'll find out. Let's see what else these guys have to say.
you have to destroy the Iranian regime to do that?
That's been my view for 20 years. You're not going to have peace and stability in the Middle East, not on the nuclear threat, not on the terrorist threat, not on the threat of the Strait of Hormuz, as long as this group of fanatics is in charge in Tehran. And although the president has said he's achieved regime change, that is the farthest thing from the truth. It's just another group of fanatics.
And what the president is saying essentially is that these are people he can deal with, that they seem much more reasonable than the others.
He's
There's
just
no evidence of that.
He's out of touch of reality. People said for 40 years, it's okay, deal with Iran. They'll moderate. All revolutions moderate. The extremists will give way. Normal people will come out. It turns out exactly the opposite. The further down you go, the harder line they are. So imagine at a time when Iran actually gets a nuclear weapon, which it could have.
And by the way, listen to what Bolton said, and he's correct. The further down you go within the Iranian leadership, the more radical they get. He's correct. That's why it's so imperative right now that, like I say, we need all hands on deck. And what's interesting is this, right? The guys who Trump took out, the regime guys that Trump took out, they were really experts at wielding their power and projecting their power internationally. The people Trump is dealing with now, they are insiders of that regime, and a lot of them, they're not these international power players who can push things internationally. So the reality is right now the Iranian regime is really isolated, because not only have the leadership been taken out, but their replacements don't have the skill set that their predecessors had to be able to project their power internationally. And on top of that, they're hurt militarily. They're in a bad spot. So I'm not so worried about the kinetic part of this, the war part of this anymore. I'm more thinking in line of, well, where is the diplomacy going to come? Once again, who is going to step up to the plate? Marco Rubio, who to bring a diplomatic solution to this?
Already by buying one from North Korea tomorrow. If you think the Strait of Hormuz is at risk today, how much more is it at risk when they have nuclear capabilities?
Death to America is still part of their founding documents.
That's exactly right. And occasionally, when somebody says something for 47 years straight, it may mean they actually believe it.
Ambassador John Bolton, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a precarious situation. It's no joke. The major work has been done to open the door, but there is so much more work to be done, and it's not up to Trump himself to do it. As I think is the message I have for everybody today is, us as US citizens, we have an opportunity to put some pressure on our elected officials. We need to be reaching out to them and to get them on board and to get them off their butts and out there into the world to start coming up with some diplomatic solutions here. They need to put differences aside. It's time to put differences aside. Republican, Democrat, who cares? What's most important now is peace in that region. Put differences aside. Get out there, guys. Get off your butts. Let's start getting some work done, and let's start empowering people in Iran who aren't within this regime. People who have the expertise and the know-how of building a society, running a society. And the only way to do that is we have to work with our European partners and our Asian partners to get those people, cultivate them, bring them up, support them. That's why we need Congress involved. That's why we need Marco Rubio involved. So this is a big deal for Marco Rubio. I think once Trump puts him on the table and gets him involved in this, we are going to see, is he really a presidential candidate or not? We will find out. And this is such an interesting test for him. I mean, it's a massive test. It's one of the, to me, if you want to be tested for running for president, there's no other better test than this. So let's see what happens, guys. Thanks again for joining me. If you guys want to see more, go to offramppolitics.com. I'm also on Facebook and X and everywhere else. But thank you again. Please subscribe, share, and like. I'll see you guys later. Take care.